Good Thursday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks and SUVs, the motorcycles, Kiefer, troublemaker, the dogs, life, addictions, and wow, what's laying on the ground? It looks like a pin thing. Look at all the balls. Landmine. Wow, good Thursday morning there. Thanks for everybody tuning to my channel. I really do appreciate all those that do watch me. They keep me motivated to keep on yabba dabba doing, right? Because yabba dabba doing is not that easy for you to learn something. And do you learn something? Yeah, you probably learn how to not to be me, right? And I don't blame you. So, but anyways, wow, Thursday already. I'm slammed. I'm overwhelmed. And you know what? The wife got back late yesterday with the mother-in-law. I walk out the front door this morning and poof, they're gone again. They're gone. So the wife's gone, mother-in-law went back home, and wife would go back to work, and yabba dabba do, right? So wow. And what was she doing? She was learning. My wife was in up there in Boston, in Harvard. It's hard to believe that the founder of Harvard, they don't know what he looks like. Did you know that? I am not the college guy. I'll just tell you straight up. I am not this intellectual college individual. I didn't grow up that way. The learning for me, my learning was how to jump on my YZ80 and rip through the field and have a blast. My learning was how to get my dad's Datsun 280Z and go up the road and stick shifting. My learning was reading a four-wheel drive book and how to lift my dad's 1978 Chevy K10 step-side truck. The list goes on and on and on. My learning was all fixated on how I can make a car or truck or whatever it may be to look neater or be able to buy. That's been my learning in my life. So you're hearing the word learning. Hey, what have you not talked about? The learn conversations. I thought this morning, and what's interesting, I really just thought of that at the last second. I really was more on the page that we were going to talk about the Corvair to keep the Camaro conversation going. But at the last second, I thought, let's talk about the learn conversations, because I thought, you know what? All these cars that I own, it's a learning process. I mean, the motorcycles, it's a learning curve. I enjoy it, but at the same time, there's just so much information. And is the Z28, is this car right here the holy grail of the Yenko years, of the ZL1, of the L88, or the L72, or the LS7? I mean, you just start going through all these different names and codes. Where all the dogs went to? I don't know. Hey, Ginger. Hey, Scout. Hey, Kiefer. Where are you guys up to? So I thought to myself, wow, it's the learning process. And if anybody has a newer car, I'm sure many can say, yeah, I buy these new cars in the learning process of figuring out how to operate this damn over sophisticated electronic thing that I just bought. It's a learning curve. Anybody knows learning is a great thing. Hopefully, if you're learning what you want to do. Hey, I have no idea. Kiefer! Ginger! Now see, you go back a few years ago, my neighbor over there, she doesn't like my dog, and he gets caught in her property one more time, she can take him into court. And I'd have to get rid of that one dog. Possibly. So I don't like that when they disappear here, because that's a major problem. Now they lured Kiefer over there. She's the Karen. Her name is a Karen, actually, but she's a Karen. I mean, 100% Karen, if you don't understand what that means. And what's incredible, I've known them for 30 plus years, and she just, his life has gotten older on her. She just is not the nicest of people. It's really bad. So anyways, where's the dogs? And I'm wasting time with you guys, right? I'm going to turn the video off because, Kiefer! Ginger! Scout! It's just like poof. The dogs literally just disappeared in front of my eyes. Are you seeing this? This is crazy. So, oh my God. There he is. Where are you guys? Jesus Christ. Yeah. You know, with all the cars, they block my view from the other side. Oh, the challenges of life. So anyways, I tell you what, it's just, I've been reading so much more into the Camaro, and I just never was, per se, the Camaro guy. Growing up, my brother was the Camaro guy. I was the truck guy. I was the Datsun 280Z guy. I was the rice burner guy. I was the Toyota Celica GT guy. I was the Toyota Super guy. I was not really per se fixated on the Camaro, even though, for the record, the family all had Camaros. My oldest sister had a Camaro. My brother then had a Camaro. And then my second sister, she had a Camaro. And then eventually I got a Camaro, but I wasn't very impressed with that 1978 Z28 Camaro. And I got rid of it about as fast as I got it. Gave it to my sister, actually, for her to take the payments over. No lie about that. So anyways, it's all about the learning. And what I've been learning so much about is the history of these Camaros and Yenko. If you know who Yenko is, then you're definitely the Camaro aficionado, or whatever you call it, the Camaro addict. You're the Camaro person enthusiast. Because I'm sure people watch my channel already know if you reach out to me. And there's, serious Chevy Camaro, the bow tie boys and girls that just love these things. And they're much more in depth of my knowledge. Maybe not. I don't know. So I've been doing a lot of reading, and I've never really followed who Yenko was. I never did. I never knew who Yenko. I always thought to myself, it's a racer. It's a racing guy that had a specialty car that he raced in, and that's why the Yenko cars were sought after. Well, that's true, but it's not so true as well. So the interesting thing is, there's a guy named Frank Yenko, who was Don Yenko's father. So apparently Frank Yenko started his own car dealership business, selling selling a Durant. Is that it? What it was? I gotta look it up. But anyways, it was a very small production, limited production car built back in the early 1929 to 1932, where a GM executive, Willie Billy or something, got booted out of GM, and he tried to create his own GM competitor car that was a total outsourced, parted car put together. So Frank Yenko signed up to be a dealer for that brand, and in the end, it failed. And so then Frank decided to go on to find a Chevrolet dealership. So apparently Frank got his first dealership back in like 1933 or 34 up there in Pennsylvania. And then as the years progressed, he opened up another dealership in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, that really the Yenko name got to be known because of his son, Don Yenko, who was a former Air Force pilot back in like the 1920s, or I guess early 30s. So this guy, Don Yenko, he was a car enthusiast and a car racer. And believe it or not, his real true beginnings was racing a Corvair. Now, so for anybody who's out there, I'm sure like Chevy Corvair, what the hell is that thing? Well, the Chevy Corvair was an actual Volkswagen Beetle competitor, because GM saw an opportunity from Volkswagen and other manufacturers throughout the world bringing their cars, their less expensive cars, and maybe fuel-efficient cars to a degree, back in the late 50s and 60s. And so GM decided to make the Chevrolet Corvair. And with that came a guy named Ralph Nader. Yeah, if you know who Ralph Nader is, you're probably my age. But the Chevrolet Corvair was actually a name. Corvair, if you kind of look it up, there really isn't a definition for Corvair. The GM came to an idea of using the Chevrolet Corvette name and the Chevy Bel Air name for the Corvair name. And the Corvair was a rear-engine car like the Volkswagen Beetle, just air-cooled, inline 6, 2.3 aluminum motor. So it was GM had tried back in the early 1900s, back in the 20s, to build a similar type of motor, which is just a piece of junk. Well, the Corvair, I guess, in so many ways followed that same rule book, because it just seems like the General Motors and the Ford guys didn't have the greatest success in these small motors like the rice burner guys did, or the Europeans, I guess you could say, maybe. But anyways, so Don Yenko, he got into racing these Chevrolet Corvairs, and he would mod the motors from maybe like 150 horsepower to like 240 horsepower, or maybe like the factory. I'm not even really sure the exact specs, but apparently he got all the technology out of these things back in the day, and he became a well-known Corvair SCCA racer. But in order to compete in the racing, he had to have, in the sanction of rules for the road racing courses he was racing in, he had to have at least 100 of those Corvairs built. That was like the minimum amount of cars that had to be produced for it to be a sanctioned homologan, or whatever they call it, availability to be credentialized to be able to race in those series. So he personally went out of his way and he built his own Corvair Stingers. Apparently there were the Yenko Stingers, which were the Corvair products. Hold on here. I'm going to do a little cough. So excuse me. Drinking some pretty potent coffee this morning. Get me going. Long day yesterday, man. I was on job all day. My freaking body's killing me. Crawling around my hands and knees. Some days I have to do that. Life isn't that easy in my world, even though some may think that it is. But anyways, so for Don Yenko, he's the guy that started the Chevy Yenko following, and it was because Chevrolet had a loophole in how you order cars, which is, you hear the Yenko Copo, C-O-P-O, and that is, what is the Copo? I think it's customer order. What is it? Is it office? It's called customer office production order. I think that's what it is. C-O-P-O. See, here's the thing. I never have followed the Camaro. I just haven't followed this product. I really haven't. And I even told my daughter yesterday, it's like, why did all of a sudden I want a Z28 car? Where did this come from? Have you ever heard my channel, per se, me talking about the Chevy Camaro? I mean, this is just so, like, weird on how this has played out in my life for me. Even for me, I'm like, this makes no sense. So there's the central ordering production order. Golly, I just can't. So central office production order. That's what it is. COPO is central office production order. Okay, so COPO, that was a trick for the Chevy guys back in the day to fool the production guys. And what I mean by that is, so for Chevrolet, back from 66 and on, when you would buy these cars, 67, 68, you would buy a Chevy Camaro. They limited the CCs to 400 CCs. So you had the the L72 motor, which was the 427 big block, 425 horsepower motor that was being put in the Chevrolet Corvettes. But for Don Yenko and other dealers, they found this loophole that they could check off the right codes on a COPO order that would allow them to get that 427 motor. So the production guys wouldn't really connect the dots. And since the 396 motor was available in the Camaro, it had the underpinnings, I guess, in the front end suspension, where the 427 big block could fit in that suspension on the front end without any issues. So Chevrolet dealers figured this little secret out, and they're out there putting in these COPO orders that enabled them to get these high-performance engines and other select parts put on a Camaro that was never supposed to even be put in the car. That's why the Yenko cars are so special. But from 67 to 68, Don Yenko had to personally order that 427 motor, and he would actually then in-house have to mod the Camaro on his own to have a Yenko SC. I'm just, all these words. You're talking, it was an SC? I think it was. A sports car, or no, it was something else. It's just too much information, man. You're talking about a guy that's trying to digest all this information that just super cruiser, whatever. So, and somebody out there that is so into these cars will be laughing at me talking this morning because be like, dude, you got it, but you don't have it. But that's all right. You can look it up just like me. So anyways, for Don Yenko, he had a limited run of getting these COPO orders in, and he was able to sell through his dealership a very limited supply of these customized high-performance Camaros that most dealers, I guess, just didn't really know the loophole, or he just didn't play the game. So, wow, that is why you see the incredible values of these specially limited run Yenko cars, is because it came from Don Yenko that was getting this Copo order in, and it was a very limited run, and it had these high performance motors. But you take it one step further, then they go to the L88, I believe, L88. The L72 was the 427 cast iron block, 425 horsepower motor, but then you go to the L88, 427 motor, all aluminum motor. So in 1969, there was only like a 1 year run of all aluminum 427 motor that was apparently the 500 plus horsepower car, maybe 600 horsepower, maybe 700. It's crazy numbers. I'm not all in great depth on that. But the whole point is, here I got a car. I've got a Z28. You have to ask yourself in so many ways, is this in recognition of the ZL1 1969 L88 427 motor? And you can say yes and no, because this is a small block motor. Those back then were the big block motors. But the whole point is, did Chevrolet kind of take and go back and say, hey, let's build this Z28 and let's think about 1969 when the ZL1 Camaro package had that all aluminum 427 motor in it. And does the average Camaro enthusiast or car enthusiast even know what we're doing? So is this the Yenko heritage? Is this the holy grail of Yenko from the day of 1969? I don't know. I mean, this is just kind of, someone maybe think it's sort of far-fetched, but I'm just very intrigued on when you start reading in depth about the Camaro and the true beginnings of Camaro, and then looking and talking about how this guy Don Yenko was such the racing enthusiast that helped bring the Chevelle Yenko, the Nova Yenko, the Vega Yenko, which that was a 2.3 liter. I believe, was that the 4-cylinder or is that the 6-cylinder? I'm not even sure. If you know the Vega, that was some pretty cool times. The cars, in my eyes, were junk. When I was growing up back in the 70s, I looked at the Ford Pinto, those Ford Mustangs, the Vega. I mean, I just these were all like the 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, non-V8 motors. And you just heard they were borderline junk. They just weren't reliable cars compared to the Toyota, the Honda, manufacturers out there that seem to build a better, smaller engine. So anyways, for Don Yenko, is this car an attribute to Don Yenko? And unfortunately, Don Yenko died in his own plane crash in 1987. So he perished many, many years ago. But I never followed the guy, I never knew him. I never followed the Chevrolet product. Chevy enthusiasts, I'm sure, can weigh in and give some more details and information on this car, because this to me is a 1969 ZL1 Z28. It makes, it's kind of contradictory what you're saying, because they brought back the ZL1. As you know, you can buy a 2024 ZL1 if you can find one, 2023, 2022. I just about bought one back in 2018, 19. I was so close to buying a ZL1. I just never pulled the trigger on it, but I probably should have. One individual reached out and said, hey, you do have Bluetooth capability on this car. If you just go through the scroll on the screen, you'll find it, which that'd be pretty cool. But that's what's interesting on this car is if you order this car without a radio, it only has one speaker. So that would tell me it would have Bluetooth, because that would way you'd hear through the car. But this apparently has, I think, 4 speakers or 6 speakers. So there's 2 speakers, and that's what you can see. There's weight. I had 1 speaker. Where'd they put the speaker? Would they put it up in the headliner? I have no idea. That's where, would they put it up in the front dash where the radio goes? Who knows? I don't know. So anyways, just did a lot of research on Frank Yenko, then his son Don Yenko, who really created the love of the Chevrolet performance product line. And it's just interesting, though, to me that Don Yenko really came from the Chevrolet Corvair. He really didn't, which that kind of stumped me. I would have thought that Don Yenko would have been the guy racing the Camaros, the Chevelles, the Novas, and then he was very fixated on the Vegas of making these super cars. That's what it is. So if you see a Yenko SC, it means Yenko supercar. See, I told you, just the brain. I've got to get more coffee so I can hack and cough more. But that's But that's when you see a Yenko, you see Copo, central office purchase or production order, I guess, is that what they call it. So, and these are all terms I didn't know. And the good news is you can look all this stuff up just like I did and start reading about it and start digesting it. And, this is an LS7 motor. Once again, I've never been the big Chevy guy. And that's what I was saying earlier. When I was growing up, my brother's fixation was to get a Camaro. My fixation was for my dad to go buy a nice Chevy step-side truck. That was my fixation. My fixation was for my dad to go buy a Datsun 280Z. My brother's fixation was to have a nice Chevrolet Camaro and for him to build it. And he did. He bought a Camaro and he built the motor and he changed out the automatic to a manual. Wish I could find those pictures of that orange colored sunset Camaro he had. I can't remember if it was like a 73 or 74 Camaro. And that thing is, I'm going to be seeing my brother here maybe the next day or so. For me, I'm trying to get the hell out of here. I need to go see my mother, I need to go see my family, and I finally have a chance to escape. And can I get out of here tomorrow? And what do I take? I'm going to Florida. What do I take? Well, the frickin' association where my parents live have truck violations. You can't park a truck in the driveway. It's so ridiculous, so sickening. If you watch my channel, you'll see how many times I've made videos about these stupid-ass homeowners associations where you park a truck out in the driveway. It's a hindrance to the whole neighborhood, and my parents get letters, and it can turn into a fine. It gets very nasty and bad. So I'm forced. I can't take my truck unless I want to have the fight with my the association. So I'm probably going to take the Grand Wagoneer. But the question is, for the Grand Wagoneer, is do I tow some bikes down? I don't know. I'm still on the fence. It's a project. If I decide to tow the bikes down, and then what do I take? Do I take the new Fast Johnny? Do I take the new ST? At one point, I was thinking maybe just taking 4 bikes down, so we can have some fun down there and ride on 4 different style bikes, which for me, that would be the ultimate thing, is to take my one trailer that holds 4 motorcycles, and I would take down my ST right here, the CVO ST, take down the daughter's ST, take the Breakout down. Would I take the Fast Johnny? Maybe. So, but here's the thing. The downside is the CVO ST, the exhaust sucks. I know I've kind of gotten off course here, but remember, this was what it was all about. If you go back to Monday, this was the whole conversation, was the Fast Johnny. It wasn't about a Camaro. That's what's just so crazy here. I mean, just incredible on that. So, but here, the problem is that exhaust sucks. But you know what? Part of me says if I take this bike to Florida, I am so tempted to take this Chromeworks and put those slip-ons on that bike. Of course, I'm going to put those in nice packaging and save it. But the debate is, you got a nice shiny surface. Well, there you go. You got a flat black surface. So that would work, actually. But that would be a project that I want to knock out here before I left town. And I don't have I do have a windscreen for that thing. That's right. So that's possible. Do we do it? But for me, I'm so strapped to my company and business where I have one gentleman who works for me that he can do X amount of things, but if things kind of get out of control, I can't stay in Florida very long. So it's very, very fine line of me going to Florida, kind of packing up and trying to stay down there a good week or two. If I get that much time, that'll be amazing if I can get that much time. But as I'm sitting here talking to you, it looks like if I did all this, I'd take the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, and I would probably take, I guess, probably just my smaller motorcycle trailer, because it'd be so much easier to tow and just leave it at having 2 bikes down there instead of taking 4. Even though that'd be pretty cool because I get some breakout time. And you know what? It's so nice up here. My good friend Chris, he's like, man, we got to ride this weekend. I'm like, I'm going to be gone, man. I got to get out of here. I got to go see my mother, and I got to go see my family because I haven't been there now since July of last year. So it's been a long, usually I get down to Florida like every 3-4 months, not every 6-7 months or 8 months. So hopefully that all plays out. But for me to pull that off, it's going to be a lot of work. But anyways, back to the Camaro. For anybody here that's intrigued by my conversation, if you truly look up the story of the Yenko Camaro, it's a great story because it really is incredible how I think that in so many ways Chevrolet brought this Z28 back with the idea of kind of going back to the Yenko type of cars that were being built back in the late 60s. And sadly, in the early 70s, the Nalf Raider type of guy, Rat, or whatever the hell his name is, he started to really put the force on environmental. The whole government started shutting down the high performance vehicles, gas shortage, EPA. So it stripped out all the era of the golden age of the muscle power of the 60s into the early 70s. And then it went to the whole smog, shut everything down. And then Camaro quit making these cars. They took a hiatus for like 6 years, 8 years. And that's what I talk about all the time is the Mustang, even though the Mustangs weren't the nicest looking vehicles, the Ford Mustangs never stopped being built. It's incredible how Ford never stopped building these Mustangs. And one guy said that I have the same tires. It's so cool to hear people reach out. And look at this here. This is the same tire. And now let's look at this tread here. That's so cool, right? So it's the P0 Trofeo RS tire. So let's look at that tread. Now let's go inside here. And I even said this, so many ways, this is the Dark Horse. And so get a little more lighting back here. So is this the RS tire though? This is Eagle. How about that? This is a Goodyear Eagle. So he changed out. So I was right. But is this up front the same tire? Yes. So get that. I didn't even know that. So yes, he went through the first set of tires, and these are probably less expensive tires. Isn't that interesting? So now I do know. So 16,000 miles. No, these tread is good. This guy probably put these tires on, I'd be willing to bet 3,000 to 5,000 miles ago. Now the back end, kind of feeling that. Did he do many burnouts? No, feels pretty good. So wow. That's what's so great about my channel for those that watch me, because people reach out and they correct things or they tell me things. And I have no problem with that. I really don't. I'm not there. I never said on my channel I was the smartest guy. I just like to share my enthusiasm of my addictions in my cars, and I love how other people reach out. And so I think said that this is the flow tie, the flare tie or something, because it flows air. So did the bow tie. And so he's probably watching saying, no, man, I said it was the flow tie. Yeah, whatever. A lot of information, but it has that open hole here. I'm so excited about this car. Of course, the kid's like, hey, Dad, let me take down the Mustang to Florida. Then we're two-upping it. It's possible. It's possible. The wife would object to it because she's driving a car by herself. The only downside is, the worst case is, it's Route 95 in February where the surprise blizzard comes in. What do you think happens to this coming up 95? Yeah, it won't be a pretty picture. It won't be going anywhere. But anyways, I don't know about that. We'll see. The kid, when you got a kid, do they have influence on your life? They do, but at the same time, you have to kind of keep things. But my biggest concern is Kiefer. I don't know how we're going to handle that. That's a challenge. Kiefer is such a high, strong dog. And to take him to Florida, I'd rather not. I wish my wife could kind of handle him and he's very challenging because he's so high output energy-wise. So I don't know. Then take the Hellcat because it has all-season tires. That'd be great, except it gets stolen probably. It is so bad. What we're all learning, you learn so much today because of the social media machine. And unfortunately, you learn a lot of the wrong stuff as well. But it's so sad that we really are in a society today more than ever. You know as well as I do. If I park this car in the wrong location, it's gone. The car's gone. The Mustangs, it's not as much a concern because you can replace these Mustangs. So for me, if the Mustang got stolen, it'd be a total bummer, but I can reorder another Dark Horse. you walk out my driveway here, you come with this Plum Crazy. Yeah, let's take the Plum Crazy to Florida. This is one of, this is a hot item to be stolen. So, I'm sure some people watching channels like, man, the frickin' Mopars have been just abandoned. Yeah, no doubt. They're the guys who are taking the beating of the weather. Yeah, and ceramic coat them, probably should. This car here would probably be advantageous to do that, this car, because this is a car I should keep, but at the same time, drive the other day, it just was ho-hum to me. It was just ho-hum. That car over there, the daughter was like, right, she would part with that for the Camaro, but we didn't do that. But the whole point of that is, we take this car to Florida, which we could, and, it ratchets up sadly, don't get me wrong, it's not like you can't drive these cars. You can. It just comes down to where you're parking them, where you live. But anymore, that borderline doesn't even really matter, per se, anymore. There's such, and the problem down there in Florida is, you have all the landscaping, all the maintenance people. These are people just scoping out houses, just as well as I do. If there's a Camaro Z28 sitting out in front of my parents' house out in Florida for a week, do you think the landscapers aren't going to be calling their buddies? I got a nice hit for you. Can you give me some money? It sounds rude, and it sounds for me being, putting blame on others. But come on, man, are you kidding me? Where we live in today's society. For my good friend Muhammad, who had his Camaro stolen, he thinks it's an inside job. He truly believes that one of his friends or somebody that he dated truly was an inside job. What's very interesting, his story is, he told me like 2 months ago, he was at a restaurant, comes out, and he finds out there's an air tag that's been planted on his car. And so there's a whole other story. Are people even now have devices that your phone doesn't pick up on? Can somebody plant one of my cars right now that now I'd be totally oblivious to the car has been planted, and somebody can track the car. But once again, for me, and I talked to my daughter, she understands it. She gets it. To drive these really high-profile cars, you're just at risk of it going bye-bye if you really do. Because if somebody's tracking the car and they see you go park in a shopping center and they're close enough, if they're really monitoring your car, bing, bam, gone. I don't know. That's something I guess we could all learn as well. All right. Yeah, they use a coffin hack. And as you get to be an old man, right? Mr. Iceman with all the fun adventures. And, for the record, you'd be thinking I'd be just talking about all day long about how I'm going to ride my Fast Johnny. But Jesus Christ. But here's the thing. Well, how many things have I bought now in the last not even 2 weeks? So we go here in the end of January. There's number 1. All right. Here's number 2. Here's number 3. I'm supposed to go sign the paperwork off today on a tractor. So 4 purchases for me. And we're not even to the middle of February. Oh my gosh. Yikes, right? See, for me to load up 4 bikes, that'd be so cool to go to Florida and get some nice riding time. Come on, Bubs, get up here. Come on. Come on, Bubs, let's go. What have you done now, Keepy boy? Oh my gosh, as he's eating my hat. So he's ate my Harley hat. Isn't that nice? What are you eating? No, that's a shell. Drop it. Jesus Christ. Drop it. Hey. Oh my gosh. It just doesn't end. See that? No. Get your ball. Look, there's my Harley. No. Wow. Hey, dude. Didn't you have a ball? Look. What did you think of Harley, right? Yeah. Hey, can't you eat this ball? Yeah. So to take it to my parents' house, I think we'd be kicked out of the house. I'm sincere. Part of me says you would drop them off at a training. Yeah. Part of me says just drop them off at some trainer's facility. Let them get trained for a few weeks. Sincerely, that's probably the smartest thing I could do. Yeah, my dad's 91 going 92. Can you imagine my dad being bulldozed by that dog? He'd be critically injured. Get away. Yeah, I know. You guys are scared of Keith for eating in my office. Iceman ain't going to be happy. Yeah, so what do we learn? What are we learning? Yeah. And I just don't anymore. Who watches the news? What do you learn from watching the news besides just the hate mode? Sincerely, where are we? I mean, sincerely, it is so bad. You go to X, it is so bad. But there's so many people on X now. They're starting to call out a lot of these really bad, radical, democratic individuals that swear all day long that they're being paid off by the Obama-Biden machine. I'm not lying. This is factual. Anybody wants to be critical of me, just go to X. There's now huge conversations on X platform of Democratic supporters of Joe Biden that are very, very aggressive. They're extremely aggressive. And they swear to you, if you're not a Democrat, it's so bad. It'd be like me and my YouTube channel right now, just saying because you're a Democrat, F you. It's so bad. Why would I do that? What comes from that? You're an idiot to play the game of politics where big business owns these people. It's big business owning these people. You're an idiot. Sincerely, both sides of the equation. I know there's policies and agendas, but we need to be going after the policies and agendas of the companies that enrich themselves to put politicians in power. Take away all political figures. How many times have you heard this conversation of take away all these politicians cannot be accepting monies and from donations from certain groups of people and businesses? Didn't Obama push that? Remember, does anybody remember Barack Obama wanting to shut down all this political influence by big business? Where's that conversation? Right, so take away all funding can no longer come from any business, only from individuals. Full exposure, yeah, right, sure, yeah, right. And let's see what really starts to play out of who gets elected, because no longer do you have these bullies that are big businesses that are funding the regimes in power to advance their agendas to enrich themselves like never seen. It's so bad. And as you really read in-depth articles about how China is infiltrating our country like never ever seen. They're getting ready to set up shop, partnering up with so many companies in this country to continue the EV revolution. It's true. Look it up. The Chinese manufacturing companies are getting ready to reposition themselves in our own backyard. They're just going to have a partner that looks like me, but the majority of them will be the rest of them won't look like me. Yes, it's bad. What do we learn from that? Don't we learn from our mistakes? Isn't that the thing about life? Sincerely, isn't that the most important thing? But here's something I'm going to do. Let me see if I can find anything here, because there's so much information. It just, it's beyond believable of what, you go and you just, the Copo, so, behold the mighty 1969 Chevy Camaro Copo ZL1. And that's what I was saying, is my Z28 in so many ways go back in time in history, and you start reading about that vehicle, is that 2014-15 Camaro Z28 run, is that in so many ways really the Copo ZL1 from 1969, given because of the aluminum 427. It's a small block now, but for the same 427 7-liter motor. But what was the liter? I don't even know. Geez, it gets too complicated, man. It really does. But what I was saying yesterday is I was so much more intrigued about the Hellcat. So that Camaro, I can still remember seeing here at Jerry's Chevrolet in Leesburg, Virginia, a red Camaro Z28 and a white Camaro Z28 come to the dealership, and that thing was so badass looking, and I really, really wanted one, but I think it was just too salty for me. But then you get the Dodge Hellcat reveal, and I think I just kind of came more to closure at that time that would be the better overall buy. And it's a 700 horsepower supercharged car versus I'm looking back then at a 505 horsepower car. So I just really think probably separated myself, and I just really didn't focus on a car or learn anything more about it. When in hindsight, and you have to ask yourself, was the attention so taken away from the Camaro Z28 to the Hellcat that Chevrolet just kind of saw not a lot of interest, and they end up just not really building them anymore? Or was that the switchover of the module? I think 2015 was the 5th generation, and 2016, if I'm right, goes to the 6th generation. So maybe that's probably what played into it as well, is to continue on that. They just figured they'd push it to another day and down the road. But there was another thing in here talking about how that Copo ordering central office production order was really one dealership apparently ordered like 50 of these ZL1s, Camaro 69s. But apparently, in the end, he couldn't sell them, and he had to start. They got shifted around to many other dealers. Isn't that something to think about that? And, and today, with where we are with learning things and the access of information age more than ever, you know as well as I do. If the technology was around back at that time, and this is what you have to ask yourself, what was the ADM of those cars back then? Were they doing that? I don't think they were, or were they? Somebody's older than me that went in to go buy a 1963 Corvette or 68, 69, 427 big block. Were you going to dealership and they were wanting markup on that car, or did they just sell it for the price they sold it? I really don't know. I'd be very intrigued. Anybody on my channel, they say, oh yeah, my dad bought a 1969 Chevy Camaro with a 396 in it, blah, blah, blah. And he had to pay premium price. They marked it up a little bit, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I don't know. It'd be great to hear these conversations. I'm going to kind of leave it at that. It's the learning day. And it's, for me, I think we all want to learn every day. Now, when people go to college, and that's one thing for my wife. She's still going to college, get her master's degree. And that to me is just like, my wife's like, she can retire. She can do other things, but she just wants to keep on learning. And I think we all want to learn. But sadly, today's world of this social media machine, what are people learning besides, in my views, the disinformation and sadly the hate like never seen before? It is so bad. So anyways, we'll leave it at that. I got a really busy day today, and for me to get the heck out of here. So here's the thing: if I was to leave tomorrow morning, you're not going to see tomorrow morning video. I wish some people would go back and look at my true starting of my channel back in 2020. If you see my true beginnings of my channel, I didn't have morning conversations. I didn't show my face. I was very, very simple and just more talking about a car I just had bought and sharing my excitement and fun in that car. And that's why, so if you're kind of wanting, or just go back and click through all the videos I've made throughout the last year and a half, I'd say at least a year plus of me doing morning conversations or whatever. And but who knows? And things could change and I can't get out of here tomorrow. I don't know. But if I want to leave tomorrow, I'm on a schedule to get everything packed up and get out of here. And then it's of the urgency for me to kind of get out of town, go spend time with my parents, and then I got to come back to what I'm doing. But when I'm down there, I'll definitely do continue the conversations, which I do in my dad's house. There in the living room, you see the antics of my father and my daughter. And do we get some riding time down there? Do we take the bikes? Is it worth all the fuel mileage? My Grand Wagoneer will get 8 or 10 miles per gallon at best, or we stop at the gas station double from what we would have to, and then get down there. Do we have the weather and the time to go enjoy doing some riding where it's a Florida light to light to light to light? But if we break out of that area, there is some pretty cool riding up north there. I mean, we'll see. I'm still thinking about what do I do with Kiefer? Oh my gosh. Yikes. Yeah, challenges, dilemmas. All right, everybody, thanks for watching my channel. As always, have a great day. God bless. Stay safe. And anybody out there that I've misspoken on the L72, the L88, the Copa, the RPO, whatever, all this language, the ZL1, the all-aluminum motor versus the cast iron motor, the limited production on the ZL1. I'd love to hear other people, hey, yeah, man, you got it pretty right there, but, that's fine. I don't take it as you being critical of me. I take it more of, hey, man, let me just share some information, and that's really nice. And people listen to me, I think that's great. I really do appreciate that. So, and others look out to me. They reach out. Like one guy reached out last night, why aren't there any speakers in the CVO ST? I'm because it's because it's weight savings. That's the only reason they did that. So anyways, God bless. Have a great day. Stay tuned.